We kind of know where this is going. 45-year-old woman who acted like a child. That's how you know your day is gonna turn out bad. Okay, hello! So, welcome to my channel. My name is Grace, and it is day 2 of reading our book this week. I'm not really sure how fast you guys want me to go on this, so I think for now we are going to stick with like very, very small snippets, and I guess if like people want me to go faster, I will. But I actually don't have a lot of time today, so I have to do this quickly. So we're just going to do like a very, very small part. So yesterday was the introduction. It's basically saying what this book is about and how it's going to help you. So yeah, let's do this. So prologue. It was opening day of the Major League Baseball season, and Jake wanted to be home watching the lineup of games on ESPN. Instead, he was having another bad day at work. He had no idea that for him today would be an opening day of a different sort. That's how you know your day is going to turn out bad. I'm sorry, but that's just how you know. Okay, part 1, opening day. Okay. This is called Jake Blows Up, so I think we kind of know where this is going. Okay, so Jake blows up. Jake was late for his Wednesday staff meeting, but that's not what infuriated him. The file he promised to send to a customer 2 hours ago was stuck somewhere in cyberspace. Although his error had created the problem, Jake cursed and blamed his computer's newly upgraded operating system. 10 stressful minutes later, he storms into the conference room with lightning in his eyes and a vice-tight jaw. Frustration spun his mind too fast for him to notice the dirty looks he got from his 5-person staff. They'd been waiting for nearly 20 minutes, and this wasn't the first time. "You people are driving me nuts," Jake began sternly. "I just don't understand why you aren't producing. Last week's numbers just came in, and once again you were all well below your quotas. I just don't get it. What is going on?" No one knew if he expected an answer, but they weren't going to risk giving him one. Instead, they boarded up their emotional windows and braced themselves. Hurricane Jake had just come ashore. In his mid-30s, Jake McKay had the kind of athletic frame men respected and women eyed. He stood tall, a bit over 6 feet 1 inch, and still had all of his signature wavy black hair. But his look was changing. His face was a bit fuller, his cheeks a bit redder, and his clothes a bit tighter than just a few months ago. His buddies now teased him about getting a manager's body. Jake's stark good looks had always helped him close sales. A gifted athlete, his dream of playing professional baseball was snuffed out by a knee injury in college. A family friend introduced him to the insurance business, and it was a perfect match for his abilities and goals. With 10 years of successful sales under his belt, he had recently been named Washington, D.C. District Sales Manager of Freedom Mutual Insurance Company. He had never been in a management position before, and he wanted to stay. But reflecting on the first 4 months in his new position, he wondered how that would be possible. The team's insurance sales had floundered since Jake took the helm, and the total office sales figures were in the bottom 40% of all district offices nationally for Freedom Mutual. Jake had tried to be patient, but he wasn't used to losing, and today a storm surge of emotion erupted. "Bill," spewed Jake, addressing the 53-year-old, silver-haired veteran sitting with the rounded shoulders to Jake's right. "You're my senior sales rep. You used to be a top performer. Now you're on cruise control going half speed. You should be leading this team, setting the example." "Actually, I take that back. You are setting an example, a poor one. Keep in mind you still have a long way to go to retirement unless you want it to come early." The other 4 staff members winced in unison at that comment and nervously waited for their turn in Jake's path. "And Tad," Jake rolled on, "I really don't get you. You have everything going for you. You look like $1 million in your fancy clothes, but you produce more like a $2 bill." Except for his solemn face, Tad did look good. He was an affable young 30-something fashion plate who wore Gucci loafers and Armani suits. He really looked the part of the successful insurance sales rep, but he worked off other people and took credit for their sales whenever possible. Why he didn't just forge ahead and create more sales by himself was more than Jake or anyone else could figure out. "Gene," sighed Jake as the gale continued. "Gene, Gene, Gene. I can't tell you what I want to tell you because I'm afraid you'll start to cry. When I was in your position, I just did what I had to do, and I have a hard time understanding why you can't do the same." Her colleagues called her Drama Queen Jean. She knew her stuff well enough, but her 2 teenage boys kept her hopping, and she complained about one personal crisis after another. Lately, she had been taking everything Jake said too personally, always getting emotional and upset. Jake wanted to help her, but didn't know how to handle a 45-year-old woman who acted like a child. True to form, she was fighting back tears now, so Jake moved on. "Nathan," said Jake, "you have the lowest numbers on the team. I really don't know what to do with you. And to be honest, I don't expect a whole lot more, but I would appreciate it if you would surprise me sometime. Everyone knew Nathan landed this job through a family connection to the CEO of Freedom Mutual. Everyone else also knew the skinny geek of a young man had no aptitude or enthusiasm for the insurance business, but because of his political connections, no one would discuss this topic. Nathan sort of coasted along on his shy but pleasant personality, and people usually didn't mind picking up the slack for him. "Crystal," Jake said to the tightly wound intellectual woman in her late 20s, "you are the only one really performing anywhere near your potential, but even you can do better, especially if you would learn to work with instead of against the other people in this room. If I had you as a student, I would write 'doesn't play well with others' on your report card." Jake paused, took a deep breath, and exhaled through pursed lips. The staff wondered if the storm was over, or if this was the eye of the storm and more destruction would follow. During the call, the thought crept into Jake's head that he was being an ass. It wasn't like him to thrash people like this, but he was at a loss for what else to do. "Listen, people," he finally said. "I'm in no mood to even talk this through with you right now, so I'm just going to let you go. Use what's left of the afternoon to think about what I've said here today. I know you are all capable of so much more. I've tried being nice to you so far, and now I need to hold your feet to the fire. If you're having trouble with something in particular, stay and talk to me. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow." Although their heads were filled with sharp comebacks, Bill, Tad, Jean, Nathan, and Crystal all shuffled out of the room without saying a word. None of them had escaped unscathed, and they were all smart enough to know that this was not the time to discuss anything with Jake. Okay, so tomorrow we will do the aftermath, but just sort of discussing what went on and what I think is going to happen, because this is actually the first time I've read this book. I think like this is kind of like an introduction into like what could be happening in the office or like in any workplace really, and how this is like the prologue into bad situations, and I think the next chapter will be like how to overcome it, or like what the mess is and how to clean it up. So I think especially like for a leader, the way Jake is handling this, like one, you don't usually see successful leaders kind of blowing up at people. Like, yes, when times are tough, it is, everyone's wound a little tight, and it's kind of hard to work with people, especially like if you just want to do your best. But I think like part of the story is going to be that like Jake's gonna be, like learn how to lead properly, because I know it just said that it's his like first time in a management position, so I think this is going to be like the learning process for him. And then for like all of his other like the five employees under him, they represent like different things in like a workplace environment that you can like every person can improve on. So like let me go back. Yeah, okay. So the 53-year-old silver-haired veteran, so Bill, the first guy that he started yelling at, so he is kind of the guy on cruise control. So I think that he represents like always trying to do your best and not just like don't rest on your laurels type of deal. Let's see, Tad, he's the fashion guy. So he said like he kind of works off of other people. So this is kind of I think about like the hard work ethic and not really using other people for your success, rather than like you shouldn't be using other people for your success when you can definitely do it on your own. Like it's that kind of work ethic. Jean is the emotional roller coaster, and I think everyone can kind of understand that, like, you know, when your boss is yelling at you, or like you're in a tough situation, it's kind of hard to keep your emotions in check. But I think she's the that variable. And then let's see, Nathan. Nathan is the one with the family connection to the CEO. So I think for him, like, there's always going to be that person who kind of like got lucky with the job, but so I think he represents kind of, you know, the person who's doing their job but really not excelling, like, you should really just push yourself to go that extra mile and, you know, to really do your job, like give 110% to your job. So I think he's like what that represents. And then Crystal, the one who doesn't play well with others, I think is also self-explanatory, like the emotional roller coaster one. So she, like, obviously in any sort of like team environment or work environment, you need to be able to work with other people without like setting off a fuse every time you talk with someone. So that's just kind of what I got from this chapter. I'm not really sure if you guys want me to continue reading the chapters, or if any of you guys got the book, which I doubt you probably did, but I will leave the link down again. If I can find a PDF link for it, if you guys want to follow along, I can, I'll link that below. And yeah, I hope I see you guys again tomorrow for the aftermath part. Thank you for watching.